Welcome back to the Pit Check, everybody. Happy Thursday. Good to see ya. We've got so much new hardcore and death metal music, but right up top, let's have the awkward conversation first. We're not covering the new Balmora album today. Surprisingly, I didn't actually hate it as much as a lot of people online seem to, or like everyone seemed to. I thought it was, pretty okay 2000s metalcore worship. Nothing groundbreaking, but, pretty par for the course for this band. But now, after quickly rising to fame, kicking out their lead singer over mysterious circumstances, replacing him right before the debut album drops, drama and backlash from the audience, and then kicking out their guitarist because, he got hit with his own wave of allegations, this time from a potentially underage fan. They maybe did the 2000s metalcore thing a little bit too accurately. MySpace metalcore 100% speedrun. And now, in a shock to absolutely no one, the band is seemingly donezo, with all of their tour dates being deleted from both theirs and the record label's social media accounts. So there you go. There's my review. The rise and fall of Balmora, ending up with a fairly okay record that is nothing special and definitely not worth the drama. And, there's no shortage of really sick revivalcore and throwback metalcore bands that you could be checking out that are, creating some really interesting music and really pushing the boundaries of that sound. Literally just pull up the Coming Strife's catalog and throw a dart. All of these bands are so good. Just pick one. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's get into the actual recommendations and reviews for the best new albums that came out this week. UK sludgy hardcore. The extremely underrated UK hardcore crossover band Healing Wound has released their debut album, Bodies of Heavenly Violence. Dude, this is like if you made a protein shake out of all my favorite genres. It's got metallic hardcore, black metal, grindcore, death metal, and it's all just topped off with this like syrupy, thick layer of sludge. I also really appreciate that despite how low-tuned and bellowing these instrumentals are, seriously, that bass feels like its strings are just been rattling on the floor, they still have the ability to craft these really intricate and surprisingly melodic grooves. There's also this cool thing Healing Wound tends to do where the songs will usually start in a more structured, grounded place, but then as they go on, they just kind of melt. Things get a little bit more uneasy and detuned and discordant and sluggish, the layers of your sanity are just being peeled back. And it adds this really cool element without being overdone or without even drawing attention to itself. I really like what these guys are doing, and this is a really solid debut, even if sometimes it feels like you're trying to run a marathon while wearing Piccolo's armor. Okay, for real, how many bands is Devin Swank in? The absolutely vicious New York death metal band Ablation has released their debut EP, Lethal Abuse. Dude, this thing is maximum carnage, consisting of members from Suffocation, Dehumanized, and of course Sanguisugabog. It's almost like this squad knows a thing or two about making some pretty sick death metal. If you love that really groovy and rhythmic yet super nasty flavor of death metal, bands like Dying Fetus or Pyrexia or obviously Suffocation, given the band members, definitely check this one out. There's also not one but two features from OG Suffocation vocalist Frank Mullen, which, obviously kick ass. But I also like that Ablation gave us a 6-song EP right out of the gate. It's enough songs to really get a feel for this band and what they choose to do to make each song sound unique yet themselves. And one of those things, I know I'm gonna sound like a broken record on this show, but it's this absolutely fucking killer bass player. I love how many insane bass lines we get and the way he's cranked way up in the mix, which again really lets you feel that like technical yet groovy approach that we've got going on here. The guitars are throwing a lot of those homages to classic death metal riffs and bands while still expanding upon them to keep them modern and fresh instead of sounding rehashed. And even Devin shows off a ton of vocal range that you don't always get to see him flex in some of his other projects. I had a great time with this one. I highly recommend. Deep fried country noisecore. The Atlanta-based noise rock and mathy hardcore band 68 has released their latest album, They Are Survived. And if you're unfamiliar, 68 is a two-piece band formed by Josh Scogan, the underground legend, most notable from, The Fucking Chariot. But here he's actually making some slightly less experimental, but still pretty experimental rock and roll with a healthy dose of noise and mathy chaos. Although they self-describe kind of quaintly as a little rock, a little blues, a little hardcore.
I know I'm only passing through and I pop you up in the room. I hope I see you over here. Sometimes it makes more sense.
I'm always blown away by how big of a sound they can have with just two members. And they do a great job of kind of bouncing between soundscapes and emotions throughout the album, with some songs being pretty funky and fun and others being straight up unhinged, chaotic hardcore bangers. These riffs especially have me in a chokehold. I love how they have that like twangy southern grit and soul to them. I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of sleeping on the last couple albums from them and now I really fucking regret it. Melt the fucking sun.
Melt the fucking sun!
The Australian hardcore band In Melting has put out this absolutely mental new release, A Pathetic Excuse for a Life. Inject this straight into my fucking veins. Very few bands are able to make me just drop everything I'm doing and fight the nearest living thing. They are not lying when they say pure sonic aggression. Australian hardcore must be my type, because I just keep falling in love with these bands. Love Island, Australia, but it's just me in a house with a bunch of sweaty dudes moshing. But for real, the mixture of these like up-tempo, driving, metallic hardcore riffs and these breakdowns that probably need to be legally registered as a firearm absolutely do it for me. There's also features from the wildly underrated hardcore band Blood Oath and the wildly underrated death metal band Scorching Tomb, so it's no shocker that their features kick ass too. Get your hands on this as soon as humanly possible. I'm not kidding, this is one of my favorite hardcore releases so far this year, and I wasn't expecting it in the slightest. Men, you should probably get a gutrectomy before you turn 40. The German Slamdown band Gutrectomy has put out their latest release, Slamdown is Not a Phase, Mom. I love how much we've gone full force into this whole Slamdown thing, with this just absolutely barbaric mix of slamming brutal death metal, deathcore, and beatdown hardcore, which allows them to kick your head in while also having a ton of just self-aware fun. And I love the absolute abuse of bass drops in this one. Almost exactly 1 year after a pretty impressive 13-track album, they're already back here with another 6-track EP, which is easily their quickest return to the studio, I think, in their entire career. And despite having a nearly 15-year run, this band still manages to have all of the fun-loving, like, playful gore party vibes of a bunch of goofballs in their 20s, but with the technical skill and expertise of a bunch of veterans. Plus, we've got features from the legends Guttural Slug, as well as No Face No Case and Necropister. If you want some stupidly fun, IQ lowering slam, this one should be right up your alley. Does this dress make me look static? The post-hardcore band Static Dress has fucking done it again with this masterpiece of an album, Injury Episode. Dude, holy shit. Even if you don't like the more 2000s screamo emocore sound, please still give this one a shot. These songs are impeccably written and way heavier than I was expecting. Straight up, this would have been one of my favorite bands in high school. This would slot in perfectly next to any of the 2000s post-hardcore giants, but not in a way that's trying to replicate their sound, but rather would stand toe-to-toe with them, especially the way they're able to blend these super catchy, like grungy alt-rock choruses that have these really fascinating lyrics that allude to a metric fuckton of lore that you can dig into if you so desire. But they're not required reading to enjoy this album. This absolutely stands on its own. Alright, so without gushing too much, this is what you can expect here. Punchy, melodic, and staccato guitar work that is probably equally as catchy as the vocals, but can also lean into like the panic chords and like chaotic hardcore influences. They've also got vocals that bouncing forth from like the exasperated emotional belts to these piercing harsh vocals to these infectious sing-alongs that can't help but burrow their way into your brain. And a non-stop impressive range and variety throughout this 15-song album. This is how you do a revival core without copying your classmates' homework. Hey, you liking the video? Did you find any good music so far? Because if so, maybe consider subscribing. Maybe like the video. I don't know, I'm just saying. Chaos reigns. The French-Canadian chaotic hardcore and metalcore band Arrowheads has released their debut album, Sisyphean. Dude, I was so glad I found this one. This is a deep cut. This one will chew you up like a meat grinder. It is so abrasive and gritty. It's like drying off with a sandpaper towel. This is an extremely impressive debut outing that carefully balances their more chaotic and unhinged hardcore sound with some more like structured metalcore elements and even little spices of like black metal and death metal and some noise rock, and of course, absolutely filthy breakdowns. I was also pretty surprised with the inclusion of some of these like 2000s post-hardcore adjacent choruses, but they implemented them super well, and especially because they're not like pushed outside of their vocal range. And they also include these surprisingly proggy, bassy kind of like gent adjacent flair to a bunch of their riffs, which keeps things surprisingly bouncy at times. This is a super cool band, and I'm stoked to see how they progress from here. Even though the last episode, for some reason, got terrible viewership, fuck it, we're headed back to the hard corner, and you can't stop me. Here are 4 new hardcore demos that you don't want to miss. The Texas melodic hardcore band Light the Fire has just put out their latest EP, Death Won't Be the End of Me, Part 2. I fuck with this pretty heavy. The melodies and overwhelming emotional ambiance are second to none, especially when they're able to balance it with some of these just devastatingly heavy breakdowns. Plus, they've got a sick feature here from Decayer. This one is able to deliver the emotional weight behind their physical punches. The Ottawa hardcore band Gallowspine has released their stupidly heavy new EP, Northern Hostility. This thing is unhinged, dude. I love it. This is pure aggression incarnate. It's got these wildly abrasive, chaotic hardcore riffs that refuse to stop grinding you into a dust. But of course, it's mixed in with these just uncodly heavy beatdown hardcore breakdowns and surprisingly beefy lows, especially contrasted against these like high barks. Man, I feel like I need just spinal surgery after this one.
Immortalize my suffering!
The UK hardcore band Powermove just put out their demo, Infernal Hatred, Eternal Strife. This one is another super deep cut. I think they have less than 300 Spotify monthly listeners, but they deserve so much more than that. They have this really unique blend of like New York hardcore and 90s Eurocore, which is great because both these styles have those crazy metallic and thrashy riffs that just never fail to get your heart pumping. And finally, the German melodic hardcore band Phantom Bay put out their latest demo, Rite of Passage. This one's cool. I really like the way Phantom Bay is able to blend these really, really beautiful melodies and harmonies and sort of this like uplifting atmosphere. It kind of gives off like drug church vibes at times. And it ends with this really cool cover of PDA by Interpol. If you want some more like chill hardcore, definitely give this one a shot. And that's it for this week. Here is the list of all the bands that came out this week. There's some other cool ones you should probably check out here. Pale Torch had some pretty cool deathcore, death metal vibes. Devin Townsend has put out a beautiful new album. Smash Hit Combo as like a French rapcore band that's really cool. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff this week. Let me know if there's anything I missed, anything that you can recommend to me for next week. My birthday is in 2 weeks, so there won't be an episode then, but I will keep you guys posted and keep you updated, and I will have a list of albums for you then, just not an episode. Love you guys. I'll see you next week.